All right, so tell me, after your first 2 weeks as an entrepreneur, quitting your job and living the life of a businesswoman, tell me, what is your first thoughts after that first 2 weeks?
It's hard. It's fucking like, you came to me with this idea and we talked about it and like we've spent a year and a half building the foundation for it and to fucking finally pull the trigger on it is kind of
Something else, isn't it?
crazy. Like,
To be like planning, like to be seeing all these reels and these TikToks of people chasing their dream and saying,
yeah,
"Oh, you
yeah,
can do it," or "You have to do,"
yeah,
like
yeah.
seeing all these
Man,
different
like,
kind of content as well. Like it's
yeah,
like, all right, now we're actually out there, and it's a little scary.
for sure. Like, I've never felt like such worry and fucking
Mm.
like
To be fair though,
doubts
like
and shit.
the feeling of being in there though, the feeling of actually being in that 9 to 5, like especially in our situation, I think was so much worse than like
Oh,
this
yeah.
the fear of where's my next meal coming from or what's the next thing gonna happen,
It's
like you
at the
know.
point where when we were working our fucking job, we had to get out. We had to pull that
Oh,
fucking trigger because we knew we weren't fucking going anywhere if we didn't.
I feel like yeah, that's another thing. Like you kind of know in yourself what it is that you're
Yeah.
about and like what it is that you're actually meant to be doing. Because
Fucking
like even for myself, like I always knew that like I was gonna be somebody who'd be doing something
yeah,
different. I don't know
yeah,
exactly what different meant or what that would look like, but I think we've always known that we're kind of cut from a different cloth than
yeah.
like the usual. So
Yeah.
I mean, it felt like that was the right move to make. And I mean, I can even say it myself. Like it's definitely terrifying to be able to say like, oh,
Like I don't regret it. I don't
oh,
regret it at all. That is
110%,
great. Like I love it.
110%. Like I'd rather hit the ground on my own terms than
Yeah.
like than like just sit in a safety net and like be comfortable the entire time.
No.
But I mean, it's a difficult thing to do, and I feel like a lot of people kind of underestimate that as well. Like there is a lot of talk in this idea of chase your dreams and do what it is that makes you happy and kind of follow that passion. But at the same time, a lot of people don't really focus on what it is they're leaving behind because it's not an easy thing to do. Like
No.
you've learned that yourself that
Yeah.
it's not an easy thing to do to just start a
Even
business
to
and
start, yeah, it's like I feel like the most difficult thing we found was to
just to
start.
start, yeah.
Just to
So
like
for any of those of you who are watching at home and you have an idea, like the biggest step there's a couple of really big encounters you're gonna have at the beginning. Like, and again, we're like in our journey as well, so we're still figuring it out
oh
too.
yeah.
So that's kind of what this is all about, is kind of sharing that experience because a lot of people share their experience when they're at the top and they're like, oh, I made it and I
Oh
was doing
yeah,
this and I
good
was
for
doing
them,
that.
like
And you're like, I'd love to know what it was like when you were actually
at
in
the
the
bottom.
trenches. Well, guess
Man,
what? We are in the
we're
trenches,
in the fucking bottom,
two
like
weeks out of our
scraping the
job.
fucking barrel, man.
You know what though? Like I'd rather be
Yeah.
doing that. Like I'd rather like be on those kind of
Yeah.
terms because truth be told, like working that 9 to 5 and being in that kind of situation and like doing all those kind of things, I just when you know it's not what you're meant to be doing, it's
Yeah.
so difficult. But
Because there's something like better out there for you, so you just gotta go and fucking chase it, I
yeah,
guess, you know?
well that definitely comes at a price. Like the
Oh, for
idea of
sure.
like you've seen it yourself. Like I told you that
Yeah.
people aren't going to support you in the beginning. They're
No.
not going to
Oh
think
my
you can do
god.
it. They're like
No.
your family's not going to say, "Oh, this is
No.
a great idea. You should quit your job and you should you
That
should
would
probably
be
just."
nice if they did.
Wouldn't it be lovely? But I think at the same time, there's a really beautiful thing about the idea of
Yeah.
everybody's telling you shouldn't do it, or everybody's got this idea of, oh, like, it's not going to work. And there's all this fear and there's all this kind of like, can I make it? Can I take that first step? But if you can do it in the face of that
Yeah.
adversity, because that's what courage is at the end of the day. Courage isn't the idea of just doing something because it's easier. It's not scary, but
Yeah.
courage requires that it is afraid or that you are afraid and that it is terrifying. And then you still take that first step to say, even though I'm terrified, like I'm going to make the jump. And I think that's kind of what we've been doing these last few weeks.
Yeah.
Just the idea of now we're kind of lucky in that we were pushed a little bit too. Like I think life was saying you guys need to kind of move on. You guys need to be able to like go
Like
to that
hurry
next
up,
step.
like come
But
on.
yeah, no, it's definitely not an easy thing. But I think also you learn so much as well when you're like when you've got it like your own boat, even though like
Mm.
it's like let's say we're all out at sea here and you've got big companies, their own big ships or whatever, but like
Yeah,
we've got this little dinghy, right?
yeah.
Like and we're on the
On the
water.
rowboat.
We've got like no paddles, we've got like no whatever, but we have
Oh,
this little boat and there's just something so like beautiful about that as well.
yeah.
Just to be able to say it might be small, it might not
But
be
it's
very big.
ours, so
It's
it's
ours though.
ours.
There's no
Like
roster, there's no manager, there's nobody to answer to. It's just
something we can be
can we
fucking
make
like
it?
happy with and shit like that.
Exactly. So like be able to put your name on something and be able to
Yeah.
say like this belongs to me, like it's a beautiful feeling as well. But I think if you can overcome that adversity to be able to say like even though people are telling me not to do it, if you can overcome that kind of stuff, there's a real reward in that. To
Yeah.
be able to say like they all doubted me, like they all said I couldn't do it, they all thought it was like a bad idea, but here we are, like we're
We're
still
still
we're
doing
still
it.
out here, you know what
Like,
I mean?
we haven't
So
gone back to a fucking shitty 9 to 5 just to fucking
that's it.
like,
Absolutely. And those 9 to 5s will always be there too. Like that's another thing that people
yeah.
kind of forget is that like especially when you're young, like you can take a chance in
Train
something.
going
Like
nowhere.
man, like the 9 to 5 will always be there. There's always gonna be shops. There's
Yeah.
always gonna be like
Yeah.
smaller jobs you can work in or whatever. And like for some people, like that might be what they want to do, and they might find actual happiness in that, or they're about other stuff. Not every
Mm.
person wants to like be an entrepreneur or try to like
Yeah,
create
yeah.
some kind of success like that. Some people just want to get by and just do their own thing,
Sure,
and there's
man.
nothing wrong with that.
No, not
But
at all.
if you know that you're somebody who is meant for more or is somebody who like wants to achieve more out there, then you're doing a disservice to yourself by not going for it. You know, like
True. Like, what's the worst that can fucking happen if you don't fucking take a chance on yourself?
maybe you become homeless, maybe you
Oh,
die and you lose all your friends, but
like,
like,
listen
come
though, but
on.
like, at least you took the chance, you took the jump,
Exactly,
you know, you
exactly.
fucking
But just
trying something different, you know.
yeah, 100%.
Especially around here, you don't see many people doing
And you'll learn
this
more in
shit.
like the couple of weeks that you're an entrepreneur than you will in like the months that you are in a
Yeah.
9 to 5 as well. I mean, because when you're an entrepreneur as well, you realize that it's all on you.
Yeah.
Like the idea of like we have to be in the gym to like get our minds right,
Oh,
or we have to
yeah,
be eating the
for
right
sure.
food to be feeling good. Like
Yeah.
it kind of puts you in a position where all the other areas of your life have to be up to scratch.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're kind of just wasting your time. Like you can't be an entrepreneur and then you're just staying in bed all day and you don't have responsibility, and you don't have any kind of drive or ambition.
Yeah.
Like it puts you in a position where okay, if I want to pay my rent or if I want to like pay these bills,
Yeah.
I got to move my ass. Like
Yeah,
I can't just
for
sit at
sure.
home and do
Yeah.
nothing, which is really sick as well. And I think for anybody who does want to be an entrepreneur, anybody who does kind of like want to go down that road, you really need to get into the gym, because there's a certain level of like going through that pain and going through that discipline and achieving something on
Yeah.
the other end that like you can only kind of really learn through the gym or through training or like some kind of like discipline, that kind of way. Like the idea of knowing that it hurts and that it's suffering, but
Yeah.
you push forward. Like, and I mean, look at us. Like, for example, like when you started coming to the gym with me or whatever, like maybe what was it, 2 years ago now?
At least.
Look at the attitude that's changed though, and
Dog
look at how
days.
you. But like we're dogging it now. Look at that dog in us now. Like you know what I mean? It's so funny.
No, it's crazy though how far like my gym journey has from where I started to where I am now. It's like a fucking squatting 80 kg. I didn't even know I could squat before. You know?
Exactly. Like, isn't it crazy that way? Like you, I've
and I
seen
love
you.
it too. Like, who thought like lifting fucking heavy shit was fun? You know?
Yeah, who came up with this idea that like, let's put it on our back and do like 10 reps and see how it goes?
Like legit, it's fun as fuck.
Some of those late nights though, at like 10 or 11 p.m., just like training in the gym, were some of the best days ever. To be fair,
remember when we went to the gym at like 2 a.m. or some shit.
Man. For those of you who don't know, I used to work at McDonald's, and I worked at McDonald's for 3 months, and I used to work from like 9 p.m. to maybe like 5:30 in the morning, and then our gym was 24/7, so we'd go to the gym right after work as well. So you'd see us in the gym at like 6 a.m. in the morning, like after like a full shift at McDonald's, trying to bust it out, trying to get some gains. Like that's what I'm talking about though. That kind of like dogging it out, full responsibility kind of mode. That's just beautiful. Like it's ugly and it hurts and it's just awful, but like now we're at a stage where we're talking about it, and we're like, even though we're like so early in the journey,
came out from it, you know.
Exactly, you can say you survived it. You can say that like as difficult as it was, we made it through that. You know what I mean? And working at McDonald's would like really teach you something about like just life and about people in general, and just kind of like a lot of the like greatest lessons that you need to learn in life. You need to have humility to learn those. Like you can't learn a whole lot if you're proud and if you know it all. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's impossible to teach someone something like that. But when you're in McDonald's, like it's hard to keep like a real hard pride about yourself and to know that like, oh, I'm at the top of the food chain.
McDonald's,
you know what I mean? Like it's, and that's something I definitely know I needed as well. Like as in just a human, like just that human element of just understanding that like these are real people. These are like real circumstances that you don't just get thrown into the like the category of, oh, you work at McDonald's and that's what you are. No, like no, you have this whole story beyond that, and you're trying to achieve something.
Burgers.
I flipped them damn burgers. I'll tell you that right now. I was making Big Macs. I was cooking fries.
Bacon double cheeseburger, please.
Bacon double cheeseburger. Man, it was crazy back in the day working at McDonald's, to be honest. But I'll tell you one thing. It's part of the journey. I mean, if you can't be at the bottom, then like, what's the value of ever being at the top? You know what I mean? Like, you got to climb your way there. You got to crawl. You got to crawl through broken glass.
We're not at the top yet. We're still fucking climbing, man.
But I'll tell you what. To be at a stage where like having gone from that to now working like in a company ourselves, and even though it's small time, and even though like it's still starting out, that freedom is just so like rewarding and valuable. Nice. But even like
it's like a weight off your shoulder almost.
Oh,
it's like,
110%.
You know, having the fucking like, oh, I can just wake up and do this. I can go wherever I fucking want and do whatever I want.
Doesn't it feel like you're getting double XP though as well? Being on the streets, like doing your own thing as well. Like the XP is just going up crazy because you have to do it. Like,
but you have to fucking do. Yeah, facts. You have to do it. Like you have to level up eventually.
It's really hard to chase your dreams. Like for any of you who are out there, like who are thinking about chasing those dreams, like do it, but understand that it's not free and it's not easy, and that it's going to cost a lot of doubt. It's going to cost a lot of sleepless nights. It's going to cost your family thinking, oh, you shouldn't do this, or you should stick to that 9 to 5, or it's going to cost your friends not believing in you, or you're going to lose a lot of friends. You lose a lot of sleep, but like, what you get in return though is different. Like the people who are supposed to stay will stay, and the people who are supposed to go will go. That's just how it works.
Sayonara,
like,
bitches.
Sayonara, like goodbye to
later,
you.
Man.
But like that's how it is. Like it's lonely at the top, I'd say. And although we're on our way there and we're trying to achieve that, like you realize why it's lonely too. Like you realize where the journeys are.
It's like the amount of like shit you have to cut out.
You have to be
like
on
I love
the
playing
game,
video games and shit, but like just
If you spent
stepping
your whole
away
time playing video games, what would you achieve?
legit,
Like
like facts,
you got
like
to give like
I
pleasure
wouldn't
for
be
something else.
anywhere.
Yeah, 110%.
But like, cutting those what they call like fucking
The what?
guilty pleasures, I guess.
Oh yeah, but I
Like
suppose yeah,
cutting that
just
shit out is
yeah.
like, you're fucking going places once you fucking cut that shit out, and
And
you
like there is a
focus.
balance though. Like it's not
Yeah,
an idea
it's
if you
not
never
like
do anything
grind,
fun
grind, grind,
again.
grind, grind.
Yeah, like I mean, I'd be the kind of person like that who like I feel like sometimes you get a little bit too caught up in the grind, and like
Yeah,
I like there's a certain level where it becomes unhealthy too, where you just feel yourself kind of like it hurts to be moving and it hurts to even like be dealing with it or whatever.
yeah,
But there has to be a certain level of like enjoyment as well
yeah,
because it's life. At the end of the day, like
yeah,
you
yeah.
die no matter what you achieve. You
That's
can't bring your money, you can't bring all those things you want with you. So you might as well do something that you enjoy or have a life
Yeah.
worth living at the
You
end of
live
the day.
every day and you only die once. Like, come on
Yeah,
now.
facts, exactly. Like, but one thing we are really blessed, I think, in terms of like what we're doing is that we have a team that like
Yeah.
neither one of us are operating like alone, and that like
No.
there are people beyond just the two of us who are like helping us as well and who do believe in the vision. But
Yeah.
like, it's a difficult thing to overcome. But like, a part of chasing your dreams is being able to make that jump away from the safety net of
Yeah.
like that 9 to 5 or whatever it is that was safe for you. Like, in order to get something, you have to let something go, and that's a really fundamental principle that I've learned as well. Is that like it's not all just gain, but
No.
there's
Yeah.
loss, and
Yeah.
like to think of like
And it's fucking heavy shit too.
it
It's
hurts
not
as well.
like,
It hurts a lot.
oh
Like
no, you
it's
can't eat a pack of crisps. Like, come on. Like, it's
no,
heavy.
it's heavy stuff as well for sure. But like even like if you take the gym as an example in terms of like gaining something and losing something, like you lose the stuff that like you didn't even really need or want anymore
Yeah.
anyway. Like you know what I
Yeah.
mean? It's
Yeah.
kind of the stuff that you wanted to let go of. Like
Yeah.
everybody
But
wants
like,
to eat healthier.
yeah.
Everybody
Yeah.
wants to like feel like they're doing well and drink
It's
enough
like you
water.
didn't
But
know you need to let go of it until like that time came around.
absolutely.
And it just kind of like hits you. And you're just there like, oh!
Yeah, it comes and it doesn't warn you and it doesn't tell you it's coming
No.
either, and it can really hurt. But there's something beautiful in that. And like as human beings, we need like pain as well. Like you need to
Yeah.
overcome adversity. You need to like
You need
go
that
through
thick
stuff,
skin.
of course. But you don't get that from like staying in bed and like being safe. You
No.
get that from pushing out of your comfort
Yeah.
zone and being able to say, it's hard and it's ugly, but I'm still gonna do it out here. I'm gonna push it as hard as I can. But
Of course.
as far as the 2 weeks going, our first 2 weeks of entrepreneurship, I think we're on the right direction.
I think so. I think, after we left London like 2 weeks ago,
Yeah.
you know, we needed to find our footing because we were working a 9 to 5 for so long
Yeah,
that we were
absolutely.
in that routine of it.
But even the entire time we were working on 9 to 5, our mindset was
Oh.
entrepreneurial. Our mindset was like
We wanted out
MSS.
bad.
What we were doing, like we just like it wasn't even that the situation of the 9 to 5 was so bad for us. But when your mind is like out there, when your
When you
mind is
see
like
something better, you just want to.
when you have that dream and
like,
that vision, and you know that you're like in the opposite of what you want, like it's just there's no peace in that. So like I have more peace being in a situation where it's like, okay, how am I going to pay this or how am I going to figure this out
Yeah.
than I would be thinking, damn, all I want to be is out there like at sea, like like. And to be
Legit.
fair, these difficulties are what we asked for. Like we knew that it wouldn't be easy and we knew
Oh,
that it
of
wouldn't be
course.
perfect, but like this is the life that I wanted anyway. So I think it's going to be all right. And I think like the next couple episodes, you guys are going to see it as it's progressing and as MSS is developing. We'll be bringing up the updates here. We'll be talking about how it's
Yes.
going. So we're not going to give you a story in terms of we made it and we're talking about the good old days. We're in the trenches right
We're at
now,
the
and
bottom
so
right now.
exactly, and
And
that's
it's
the
still
real
fucking
perspective.
good.
That's a real perspective. So there's like a couple of things you can take away from this episode today. Number one, it's hard. It's hard to make that jump. It's not easy to do it, and it's going to come with loss. It's going to come with difficulties, but it's worth it. It's what you gain, and it's what you're getting in return for that. That's so important, and that what you gain wouldn't have any value except for what you lost having been lost. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you have to let go of some stuff.
Yeah.
It has to have cost you something for
Yeah.
it to be of value. The idea as well of that, like, it's not for everybody, and for some people that is exactly like for the people who like want to work a 9 to 5, or people who are like happy with that situation. Be happy.
Be happy. Yeah.
Straight up, enjoy that. Be glad that you are not like that you don't have to like go and
Yeah.
get more, but like
Yeah.
if that's what you want to do and you're happy with that, then that's 100% what you should
Great,
do.
man. Be fucking happy.
Exactly.
The one thing in this life, be fucking happy.
I mean, for some people, that's just going to come through like a pretty hard price, but like,
Still,
why
it'll
not?
come eventually.
Why not? But that's about all we have for you today, guys, and we'll see you next week.